Thank you, Minister. Fianna Fáil strongly supports the extension of the powers covered by this motion. I'm personally a need for a special criminal court at all to hear any cases, but unfortunately we do. We've already discussed in the last debate the ongoing threat from dissident terrorist groups in this country, the scale of gangland crime that's evident within Ireland, particularly in parts and other cities, is frightening. Last year we had an increase of 35% in gangland-related murders, from 11 the previous year to 15 last year. So the unfortunate reality is that we need these systems. We need to have an effective justice system, both through our Gardaí, to be able to actually apprehend these criminals in the first place, and then an effective court system. And we saw with the collapse, Minister, you rightly pointed out the background to this legislation in the first place in the 2009 Act. We saw with the collapse of the Keane trial in Limerick that gangland criminals will go to every possible length to avoid evasion, intimidating ordinary, decent jurors, witnesses, people who put themselves at immense risk to have to be part of these criminal cases and to do their civic duty to actually participate in trials, only to be intimidated out of that role by threats against themselves and their families. So I think we have to be very cognizant of the fact that there is still an ongoing threat, and that we need to have in place the most effective systems to deal with that. Gangland crime is particularly an issue in my area in North Dublin. I am seeing as well the effect that gangland-related murders have on the whole community. When Alan Ryan was shot dead in broad daylight in Clongriffin, there was a huge sense of fear across the whole area, because anybody could have been walking by with their children at the time that happened. The same with the murder of Eamon Kelly in Clontarf. So these are issues that affect the whole community. They lead to a sense of fear. And we need to know that when the Gardaí and the prosecution service have found out the people responsible, that the case won't collapse, that they won't actually be able to intimidate jurors and avoid an effective trial. And I think that for that reason that this legislation was essential in the first place when Fianna Fáil brought it in, and we do need to extend it as well. I think, as far as I understand it, all parties are supporting this motion tonight except for Sinn Féin. I suppose it's, in many ways it's not surprising, given the party's own history in this country and involvement in terrorist activities in the past, and the reason why they've always opposed the special criminal court.
I don't think there is any evidence that Sinn Féin was involved in terrorist activities.
So I'll say endorsement of terrorist activities in this country in the past, and very close connection, deep and personal relationships between people involved in the Sinn Féin party and in terrorist groups in this country that led to the death, as was pointed out earlier on in the last motion, innocent civilians, innocent members of our Garda Síochána, and innocent lives taken north and south over an extended period of time. But it's not surprising that you would therefore oppose the last motion, which was about the extending the Act in relation to terrorist-related crime. But I do find it absolutely extraordinary that Sinn Féin would oppose the use of the Special Criminal Court to tackle gangland crime, where on one side of the mouth we have Sinn Féin representatives that are involved in North Dublin and other areas who will strongly condemn gangland activity in their own local areas, and then we have national representatives who come in here and vote against legislation that is absolutely necessary to ensure that we don't have another situation like the Keane trial, where gangland criminals are able to, through intimidation, make sure that they will never actually pay a penalty for what they have done. So I think this legislation, unfortunately, as I said, I wish we didn't need a special criminal court, but unfortunately we do. And I think it's incumbent on all of us as legislators to ensure that we have the most effective criminal justice system, and as well that we give the Gardaí the personnel and the equipment and everything else that they need support to actually be able to effectively fight against these crimes on the ground as well.
Senator Conn.